Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to a new Legacy League. Today we are going to do something different. So we are going to go through a league I've just finished with this beautiful mono green ring post deck, so to speak. So I had some problems with recording app. Don't know why, what happened. I don't know if I messed up when configuring it but some of the games got missed in the middle of the league. So I'm gonna go through the game history. I know it's not the same, but I think the league is worthwhile to do this. I'm sorry if some of you dislike it, but bear with me for today. So I think it's already 2 or 3 weeks ago. Fellow content creator and mono green post player, both in paper and MTGO, Mana Station. Hi man, how are you? Asked me to play the deck on the channel. It's been quite a long time since I've showcased mono green post here, so yeah. We were debating because he's a very absolutely dedicated player for a mono green post, and I played a lot of mono green post, but I play other things as well. We were debating about the One Ring and the Elvish Spirit Guide that it's going around lately. So the list has changed quite a bit. Today I'm going with True Futurism's deck list. True Futurism is another guy I've talked to 3 or 4 times in the chat of several games. Very good guy. A much better player of G-Post than me, let me tell you. He's probably the most successful green post player nowadays, at least in MTGO. That's the meta that I can monitor somehow. He's very proficient. He's getting top 8s on Legacy Challenge quite often, 5-0s as well. So you should check him out if you have the option. So I got the list from him or from them. And in the conversations with Mana Station, we both agreed that the One Ring probably a very big addition to the deck. Obviously, you don't need the One Ring to be introduced very much. Strong card source advantage, but it plays a very huge role in this deck because mono green post is a super defensive deck. So we intend to survive early mid game while we are ramping out using the posts, glimmer posts, etc. Thanks to Reclaimer and Crop. To get up to 6 mana to deploy Primeval or 7 to green some for it, ramp even more, get an Eye of Ugin eventually, and use the Eye to get Emrakul and Ulamog, and usually win the game from there. We managed to survive until now thanks to Glimmer Post gaining us lives, Glacial Chasm that it's right here, stopping incoming damage at the cost of paying life on our upkeep. But now we have another way to survive, that it's the One Ring cast trigger, or enter the battlefield if you cast it trigger if you want it, that give us protection for a whole turn cycle. So this is huge because as we said, we need to survive no matter how, and this is gonna buy us a turn, and if we can chain couple of these, we are having a couple of time walks to work with while we are ramping, and usually that's enough to do the job. So no question here probably, though my first experience with a ring list wasn't good, probably due to variance. Definitely a contender in this deck for sure. The other thing going around is Elvish Spirit Guide. and I've seen versions with 2 Elvish, 3 Elvish, 4 Elvishes, none. It's very interesting to me, and even after playing the league, I'm still a bit skeptical. And you'll see that Elvish helped in several occasions, so I'm not going to say it's bad because it helped me. But I don't know, guys. I guess it's a way of ramping one turn ahead, so that's good. We can get some crop rotations by surprise if we are tap out and opponent thinks that we cannot do it. Maybe we can. Same goes for Veil of Summer. Maybe we are tap out or whatever, or we don't have green mana, or P tries to do force us or thoughtsy us and we can bail by surprise. That's something we can do. But it's a horrible top deck. Horrible top deck. So this is quite a dead card in various situations, but well, I guess at least we can play it as a 2-2 and champ block if necessary. Otherwise, the deck is pretty standard. To make room for this, we've sacrificed Ramunap, which might come up sometimes, especially with Glacial Chasm. There's a lock between Glacial Chasm and Ramunap going on. Well, it's not exactly a lock, but you get what I mean. You can reset the counters, the ice counters on Glacial Chasm, letting it die, replaying it, and so on. That was a way of winning games that I use quite a lot. And we've sacrificed one of the Pithing Needles, which is a clue or a very important piece in the deck to protect our land from wastelands mainly. But we still have 3, so we'll have faith in the deck to find at least one of them. But the main scapegoat here has been Spatial Map, so trim down to 1 when this was a full playset staple on the deck, and I'm a little bit sad of seeing that. I guess it makes some sense considering that people now are bringing Null Rods and Collector Rufus against us that they didn't tend to do as much in the past just for maps. So maps is eating collateral damage or hate that is intended for the One Ring. So it makes some sense, I guess, but I'm still sad of seeing this card going. Very helpful, especially to get Boseiju, that it's a land that we want on our hand, not on the table most of the time. But yeah, then the new addition on the sideboard, it's been Gadoktik, and it's something I've been doing in Naya Depths, and I think this here makes sense as well. So if you look at the 75, we are pretty much giving up on the combo matchups, especially storm matchups. But if we manage to get a fast Gadok on the table, we might get away with it. It stops Tendrils, Empty the Warrens, Besiege the Mirror, and Nausean Tendrils. It stops things like Sneak Attack, obviously Force of Will. So yeah, I like Gadok quite a lot. We can cast it thanks to Cavernous Souls or Caracas, or using a Green Sun for it. And here it makes sense to have Elvish Spirit Guide because we need this fork to get as fast as possible on the table against combo. So yeah, spirits let us do is one turn ahead, so here happy in this interaction. Otherwise we have a pretty stable sideboard, 4 Force of Vigors and 1 Collector Roof for artifact matchups. That's quite a lot. 2 Veil of Summers, which are fantastic in the current metagame with all that scam going around, and pretty good against combo as well if we get to use against Tendrils, for example. That's awesome. 4 Carpet of Flowers, which is a must-have card in this deck. So against all blue decks in general, but especially against tempo decks, this is such an important piece of the puzzle. It ramps a lot for us. It let us go through the 8th, plenty of time. It makes us less weak against wasteland locks, because carpet is gonna still give us mana. So super important. Dismembers to get rid of Oppo agents, Magus of the Moon, and this kind of annoying creatures mainly. Maybe a Collect Roof if we are trying to get advantage with one ring, who knows. So this is it. One thing that I would personally change, especially on paper, because I'm not going to spend the fortune that the Tabernacle costs, is changing the Tabi for Mythofit. I'm a huge fan of Mythofit, and there are several reasons for it. First of all, it's been a long time I haven't seen Tabernacle really taking over a game. There are some niche moments, like when playing against Madness in the past, or maybe playing against Dredge and they have plenty of creatures on the table but they only have 1 or 2 mana. Obviously it taxes a lot of creature based strategies like Death and Taxes or even Tempo, where they don't have those many lands, or at least at the beginning of the game, and they need to choose between keeping their creatures or playing their spells. So Tab is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I've won so many games with Mythofit, especially when you start copying it with Bezubas and Thespian Stage. That's the second reason why I prefer Mythofit most of the time. So Tabi you cannot copy, not really. Legendary rules, man. But Mythofit you can have as many as you want. Well, in this case, as many as 5. And if you check out some of the Mono Green post videos that I've posted on the channel, pretty sure you'll find some games where I just lock out of the game my OPs by having multiple Mythofits. I remember one Shadow matchup where I think I had 3 Mythofits for their 2 Shadows and Murtide or whatever, and they couldn't get through. It was impossible for them to get through, and we ended up winning the game. So some consideration there, but we are going to go with the list I got from True Futurism, no changes at all. Well, we are going to go, no, I've already gone, but you get what I mean. Just to prove you that I'm not trolling you, this is the result of the league. You'll see. So we ended up 4-1, lost first matchup. You'll see that I pretty much threw this one, but I ended up winning the rest. And here's the deck, so you have the confirmation. So now I think I can close this. Let's go to the... I know I'm spoiling you the result, but since I'm already spoiling the video anyway, this is what it is, and you already had the result up here, so because I like to keep record. So bear with me, we got a 4-1. You'll see that I threw first round, and I'll show you right now. History, going back to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's go, folks. Let's make it bigger. The volume is a bit too high. So here I started with a blind Pithing Needle, especially because we have 2, we can afford, and I was going to do it anyway. Here I was doubting if it was Tempo or Show and Tell. It could be Control, but the Ancient tells us what it is. They got a Vesuvian Drifter, which is a problem because we don't really have removal main deck. So I decided to pitch Griselbrand. Let's stop for a second. Decided to pitch Griselbrand just in case. I don't want them to start drawing too many cards. And we pass here. Here they are setting up their creatures on the top. And Atraxa wasn't the worst, honestly. It's just a 7/7 life linker here. You don't get the ETB. Here we try to deploy a Primeval, which got forced. And now I didn't expect it, the second creature they had on the top, but they just prepared two surprises. And Archon was a beating. But well, we still had the one ring here to try to survive. And that's what I intended to do. Here comes, but they have a second force. So it was a turn clock from Vesuvan. Or that's what I hoped for. But unfortunately they have a brainstorm, so they can put again Archon and Atrax on the top. And that's game for them. If I recall properly, I brought Force of Vigors, Gadok, Pale of Summers, not sure what more. There we are for game 2. So I decided to keep this hand, especially because we have Reclaimer start and we are on the play. And I was hoping that OP was going to deploy another Vesuvan, so this member would be fantastic there. And if we happen to have a couple or 3 free turns to go with Reclaimer, plus a little bit of acceleration with Elvish, we might end up casting the Primeval. With my throat. That was a very weird start for them, but it worked out. Sorry. Second Reclaimer was interesting. So here I had the choice to use the Elvish for the other Elvish, but I decided not to. Here, this Etowar is gonna be important throughout the match. You'll see why. I'll talk about it later. So I was just setting up, and here was the Vesuvan. So we'll try to dismember it, which got forced. Now I use the Elvish, get a Dark Depths, copy it. I decided we needed to go fast. Though Vesuvan having flying is inconvenient, just to say the least. And here we had to dodge some kind of bounce spell or something, and we did. We won the game. Quite unexpectedly, this was a bit risky, but we managed. And here comes the game that I think I threw, but I'm talking by memory. We'll see now all together. So I kept a very risky hand with triple Reclaimer, but I didn't feel like mulligan it. The cage didn't matter at all regarding this hand. We got a disclaimer for potential Vesuvans again. OP setting up. And here I decided to threaten them with thougths again, just to play the chicken game, another elvish. And I think, let me stop. Here is where I started to mess up everything. I think I should have deployed at least one of these reclaimers here. So my idea was to keep these elvish spirit guides to hardcast a primeval if necessary, but since I was playing the chicken game, I think I should have used Yabi, play one reclaimer, thougths, play the other reclaimer, and have the two spirit guides to have a surprise activation with Thespian. I think that's what I should have done. But I didn't. And I regret it so much. And here comes the Otawara factor. So I thought it was very suspicious that after a brainstorm, no shuffle, they decide to pass the turn with 4 mana up, and I got scared of Otawara, so I decided not to go for it. Here I decided to play one of the reclaimers, but again, okay, here comes the second one, but as you can see, but not doing so on the previous turn, I time walk myself, because I ended up doing the same, kinda. So again, OP passing with 4 mana up, no shuffle. Here comes the shuffle, okay. So I decided to wait a little bit while threaten other stuff. I don't know if maybe I should have gone for it last turn and risk it, but them holding 4 mana all the time felt very suspicious to me, especially after seeing this last brainstorm. So they had even more stuff. Here, let's stop it. Again, all this game was psychologically affected by Otawara. Probably if I haven't seen Otawara on game 2, I would have gone for it far sooner, man. I have to admit that because it's the truth. But instead here, because I was scared, I was just pivoting into the ramp section of the deck while keeping the threat. So I got the eye here, so OP knows that they need to go now, because we have the mana to get Emrakul and go. So we are pushing some damage, and here OP needs to go for it. I put the Titan on, and here I think it's where I completely messed up everything. So I should, no matter what, have gone for the Glacial Chasm. So this is the biggest mistake on the whole match, I think. But I still could have it with Reclaimer, but yeah, maybe it wasn't necessary to get it with Primeval Titan. Honestly, I was hoping. So let's point out something. OP is playing a Vesuvan Drifter version of Sneak and Show. Normally this version plays only 2 Omniscience instead of the full playset. So I was hoping that this show and tell wasn't going to put an Omniscient on the table, but they did. And yeah, I think I got nervous here. This is what they saw. They got the sneak attack. All of this brought together. Here comes the Emrakul. Which is not gonna be the only threat. Here comes another friend. and another Atraxa, and I decided to concede here because I thought that second Atraxa just closed the deal. Probably it was an early concession. We could still have gone for a glacial chasm, but the annihilator was very scary. So here they had at least Archon and Atraxa attacking. If they happen to find another Emrakul and sneak attack it, they have lethal. This attacking makes me lose probably this member and the other tapped elf. They still have an extra turn. They can attack, well, they lose this Archon because it has come up from the sneak attack, but they surely find more monsters with this Atraxa plus wherever cantrips they found. They still have 6 cards on their hand. So I'm not sure that getting Glacial Chasm would have saved us here. So they attack, go to the extra turn attack. I have to sacrifice 6 permanents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe. And I don't know how I'm getting back from there, but I still think I could have won this game. Maybe if I had been braver or reckless instead of playing the chicken game of Dark Depths. We will never know because we don't know if they had Ottawa or not. Maybe I should have gone for it and that's it. But I didn't, so I lost this one. Anyway, I think it was a pretty interesting match. Considering that it's one of the worst things we can be facing with post. I think we put up quite a fight. So, okay, let's move into round 2. I think it's this one. It should be Cradle control. I think it is. P going down to 5. They got a Windswept. And they are gonna Zenith for Dryad, just accelerating. So they don't usually run Wastelands, or if they do, they have just one to get with Elvis Reclaimer. So I decided to start with Cloud Post here. And now comes one of the mistakes on OP's side, which is letting me name their Fate Clan. So I'm effectively cutting black from them. Though the double Reclaimer was scary and made me regret using the Pithing Needle, and they instantly concede to the One Ring. That was something that surprised me a lot. It was like, what? So very, very fast concession when they had 2 Reclaimers going on. It's true that they were down to 2 cards and we were going to start drawing, but still very fast. Okay, who would know the One Ring was 4 mana win the game? Going into game 2, it was a pretty fair hand. They had the same start, but now on 7. Artisan was a worrisome piece there. So on our next turn, I needle it. I don't want them fetching Oppo Agent, for example. And I play the Tabernacle just to neutralize the threat that Chaos Cradle um, stands for here. I know this is one of the reasons tab is not as good. So it's good because it's keeping them from developing, but we don't get that devastating effect that we are looking for of sweeping their board. Here I cropped for Yavi to make Tabernacle available, just to have 2 mana up, try to make Tabernacle good, but they had the possession on their own, so we got a possession wars here, which was pretty funny. And here comes a Grist, which I thought was instantly going to kill the Reclaimer, but they decided not to. Don't ask me why. On their positions I would have instantly killed the Reclaimer. Here comes the ring again, no concession this time. Still not killing the Reclaimer, I was very surprised. The only thing that I could come up, let's stop for a sec, is that they were trying to flat the board for a natural order to Creator Hoof and kill me. That's the only thing that, but still, I don't think one insect or the 2 insects are gonna make such a difference. So, okay, I buy the first one, but the second one, don't get it at all, but okay. OP would know, I guess. Here they go for, I thought they were going for an extra Gaia, but they went for another Dryad. So OP really going for it. But they went for Collector Hoof instead of Creator Hoof, because I think, let me stop here. I think they were trying to do the thing with Creator Hoof, but they didn't realize that they have already milled the Creator Hoof with Grist, because it was a little bit suspicious, but maybe it was intentional. They just wanted to neutralize the One Ring. They know I have an activation with Reclaimer for Glacial Chasm. By the way, that's why they should have killed Reclaimer far sooner. Here comes an Endurance, I think. Not yet. Okay, there's some point in this game, I think that, okay, now they are killing the Reclaimer. If I remember properly, some moment soon they got an Endurance, put back their creatures, but I'm not sure if it's this game or the next one. Here they are going to hardcast an Atraxa, which is their last card. You're not going to see this very often, hardcast Atraxa in this Cradle build, but they managed to pull it off. Here we have our own clock going. We'll try to go with Primeval, but I miscounted the mana I had open to use the Thespian to copy the Glacial Chasm, and I think they find another Boseiju and kill us. They do something very clever here, that it's sacrificing their own Atraxa. Here comes the Endurance. Okay, Endurance, putting all back. Now they natural order, get the Atraxa again. That was very sweet. by OP. But probably I shouldn't have played the Titan, just kept the Thespian open to copy Glacial Chasm, because yeah, now they were going to play the Crater Hoof, I think. And that's it. Yeah, I think this because I saw Boseiju. Now I was thinking why I'm conceding here. They kept the Boseiju who endures, so I already know we were going to die. Moving to game 3. Which there wasn't game 3. So P mulligan ad infinitum and conceded. So not happy about this one. So game 1 they had a very early concede. Game 3 I don't know what the hell happened there. If they were super extremely lucky and didn't get the lands, or they just were digging extremely aggressively for something, which I cannot fathom what, but yeah. This point we are 1-1. Let's move into round 3. Don't remember what was this one. I think it's Temur Delver, if I recall properly. And here is where the league gets interesting, for sure. So tempo is probably it's better than most people think of. I would say it's 50-50, where most people think that tempo should cruise and crush green post players. It's not that bad. Though obviously if they start just pressuring aggressively with wastelands is a huge liability. But post board having the Carpet of Flowers is huge. Here we got a Elvish trick, but they had double days. At least that made them go down 2 turns regarding the lands. Meager consolation, but it is what it is. It was a little bit weird because we were just passing. I was hoping for this cloud post, but they got another wasteland here, I think. Yep. And a brainstorm. Third wasteland was very rough, very rough. Here we needed the 1 ring to resolve, and it did. Thank God, because this Murtide was enormous, and it wasn't alone anymore. Here we needed lands, and we found them. I used those main deck, main phase, just to dig for some threat. There it could have been good to get the Tabi on the second once upon a time, but decided to go for the life gain that Dimir post give us. Now it's where the beating starts. I was a little bit worried that they would wasteland Glimmer Post, making us win less life. And I'm gonna try to wait at some point. I think here I try to deploy a Titan, if I recall properly, which gets dazed. We pay, get double Glimmer Post, I think, or it was Glacial Chasm. No, double Glimmer Post. Okay, going up to 12, which was still risky because they can hit for 11 if they manage to get Delirious, and then the ring kills us, and that's what happens. So I conceded because the ring was going to kill me on my upkeep, unfortunately. So some consideration here to I should have go fetch Glacial Chasm with Primeval Titan. I got a little bit reckless, I think, hoping this Dragon Rage wouldn't got Delirious, but it did. So definitely should have gone for Glacial Chasm. The problem with Chasm is that I knew they had this Wasteland up, so, and they forced me to use the open mana. So when I casted the Primeval, I had one forest up. If they hadn't dazed me, probably I could have gone for Glacial Chasm, and with these crop rotations up, we could have used the forest to crop something or try to. Well, they would have gotten us anyway because they would have used the daze then for the crop, but since I knew I was going to be tap out no matter what, this Wasteland made our Glacial Chasm completely useless, so that's it. Now post-board we get Carpet of Flowers, Veil of Summers, getting rid of some once upon a time crop rotations, I think. Had to mulligan a little bit, unfortunately. I honestly thought we were going to lose here. Moor to 5 against tempo on the play is very, very scary. They got down to 6, to be fair. So it was not that bad. Here I got a Reclaimer, which I think they couldn't kill, if I remember correctly. Here they deploy another bulk second channeler, I think. Okay, fetch and channeler. So Reclaimer lift, which is huge. And here comes a surprise, man. Ashok is an absolute beating against us. It's like Opoation, but we cannot kill it. My goodness. So I decided to use Reclaimer while we still could, obviously. They started milling our stuff, which is relevant because keeps Reclaimer from growing as well. Here we use the Spirit Guide to cast the One Ring, which gave me some comfort. Wasteland very rough and Lightning was devastating here. So I really thought here that the game was going south very, very fast. Ashok stopping us from tutoring or searching. Huge pressure here. But getting the carpet was huge upgrade to the situation. Because now we can start ignoring a little bit this Wasteland, which they seem to be keeping for Daredev's combo. Decided to get some life. I could have got Yavimaya there and ensure we got green mana up. And here comes a bit down to 15. Opponent is still not using the Wasteland. Here we draw. And we get a very interesting setup here. So what's going to happen now is, before doing anything else, I'm going to play the pitting, I think, or maybe after playing the second carpet, I don't remember, we'll see now, just to force the action on the wasteland. You'll see. So second carpet, here comes the needle, and they go for the depths, which I was very happy about. And I decided to go pressuring the Ashok since we couldn't really use the Reclaimer ability. Not much of a choice there. But still a scary situation. They were hitting us for 6, down to 7. The rink is gonna put us down to 4. This meltdown represented another wasteland for them. Here it is. I think they go after the cloud post. No, they didn't. Okay. Here we are going to float a lot of mana. Well, not a lot, but pretty decent amount of mana. Which, if I remember properly, we are going to use to get a Titan. Oh, we did get the Titan. Here they got scared and wasteland cavern on Giant, but we can float the uncontrollable mana anyway. And that's what I was doing here, or I did here. So we gain some life. We put a Titan there, which resolved. We had 2 Veil of Summers protecting this, but I really thought they had something. We played backup ring to avoid dying too fast, which we pay for. We have protection for 1 turn cycle again. We draw, and we keep pressuring the Ashok. And next turn we are going to have a couple of green sun available. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. They are forced to attack, but it didn't matter. We got the ring protection, and drawing the Ulamog was huge. And let me stop here for a second. So as you can see, we had 11, 12, 13, 14 mana. So we were 1 short of developing Emrakul, or deploying Emrakul, I mean. We could have, just thinking later, we could have attack with Primeval, kill the Ashok, then activate Reclaimer to get another post, probably. I don't know if that would have made up for the mana, probably not. So yeah, what we are doing here instead is playing the Ulamog, getting rid of Channeler and Ashok. I don't care at this point anymore for these green sands. So Endurance is gonna stop them. We are going to have Primeval attacking, and we have Caracas Ulamog available for us, and obviously the next turn we can play Emrakul. So yeah, the game was already over here. Moving to game 3. They got one of the best starts that they ever have. I tried to cheese them with a tabernacle, which is not going to last very long, but at least we got one wasteland out of their hand and kinda time work here. Again, I think they are unable to kill Reclaimer. They had issues, but the pressure was on for sure. So I try to save as much life as possible. They used the force to stop the pitting needle, which was going to name Wasteland, obviously. Luckily, if I recall properly, Delver didn't flip. It was lazy. So we had a standby situation for a while, which was great for us. So I decided to start developing the board. Go bring another Reclaimer and keep a mana up for an activation if necessary. Delver still not flipping. Here comes a little Murtide, or medium-sized Murtide, I would say. Here I decided to ignore completely the green mana because we had Ulamog on our hand. I could have gone after the lands, but I thought that getting rid of the threats was more important. Oh, my cat is here. And we still had mana for the One Ring, which proved to be very good on this matchup. And since we didn't have mana to activate, we started going into the aggression. They decide not to attack, which I thought was interesting. Second ring is amazing. Decided to deploy it. They try to find a solution here. They find a force of negation, but they don't have anything to pitch. So decided to go aggro again because I intended to activate Aitopugin. And they concede. So yeah, that Bojuka and then losing a couple of turns trying to find something. So if they had found Ponder, a Brainstorm, or a Questing on those 2 or 3 turns that we were kind of standby, I think the game would have been far closer, but they didn't, and we took advantage from that. At this point we are 2-1. Okay, come on. Round 4 we played against Shadow, which is another scary matchup. Thank God we found our pithing needles pretty often. Which are very relevant against tempo. And we got the ring very often as well. Here I decided not to use Elvish for Green Sun because I wanted to play around 8th. And here I decided to go for the Reclaimer since we have mana up. Could have copied, use Reclaimer to... Wait, it wasn't necessary. They dismantled completely my One Rings with thoughts, which was very scary. Here comes a big Murtide and second Shadow. So we try to go for a depth combo here. Situation was very dire. At least this forced them to sacrifice a Murtide for the cause. And we get another Reclaimer. That reanimate was very interesting because it made me thought that they didn't have Brazen Bee, kinda emergency reanimate on Murtide. So I felt kinda okay, but you'll see now what happened. They still had Brazen Bee, so they got me good. And I conceded because I knew I was going to die on the following turn, most probably. If not in the next one. 2 lands, they can put me to 1. I have Chasm on my hand. The situation was, and they have Wasteland to get rid of the Chasm, so situation was that bad here that maybe it was a bit of an early concession, but moving to game 2. Again, Captain of Flowers changed the math completely in these matchups. I still decided to start with Reclaimer. And Dog was a very aggressive Wasteland on their side. They shouldn't be that scared of Cavern of Souls when it has already done the job. Anyway. Here we play the Boseiju, cast the Carpet which resolved, and since I wanted to take advantage of the mana, I decided to use Reclaimer activation right here. Start working on the One Ring, the future. They got a Troll which they are going to reanimate. Yep. The point here was if the One Ring was going to resolve or not. That was the question. We were playing around 8th and it did resolve. I was debating it was worth it activating before or after, considering they have Bowmasters, but I decided to go for it. And they got an Ulrot, completely neutralizing the One Ring, unfortunately. So now we have an item that it's gonna ping us for 1 on each upkeep and don't give us anything in return, unfortunately. If I recall properly, here we use the Carpet to cast Endurance, I think. Yeah. Just to have a body on the board. We need to survive. We are in the defense mode with Reclaimer as our joker or wildcard or whatever you want to call it, or superstar. Interesting that they didn't find any kind of removal, and we are already on turn 5. So they swing. I decide to save as much life as I can, just in case. And we start working on our Eye of Fugin, and getting another One Ring is huge. They got a Force though. So we are holding an activation, either of Eye of Fugin or Reclaimer. They go for it. And this was a very aggressive petty theft, which allowed us, since they only have 1 mana left, to go for the play that we are going to do now, which is going for Dark Depths again. Which is gonna champ block the shadow. And they decide to concede. So I think they messed up. They were super aggressive with this petty theft. They should have attacked normally. I needed to champ block anyway, but I guess they got scared of this cloud post, which I can understand, honestly. So moving into game 3. We got a Pithing Needle again. Honestly, I didn't really notice at all that we were playing 3 needles on this deck list instead of 4, by the amount of times that we got it on the opener. Need resolve, no Death for OP. Thought's is getting rid of Primeval. Here I got scared of them having a reanimate for this Primeval, not for Wasteland matters, because we had the Wasteland cover for now, but because a 6/6 trample is a huge problem and it's gonna get their lands out of the way. Drawing this needle was pretty fun. I decided to use it. No, not yet. Okay, it's going to come next turn then. There's a pretty funny moment. Well, it was funny for me. Here they get rid of the Reclaimer. I think it's here. Because we don't have... I could have deployed One Ring if I played the Glimmer Post. It could have been 2, 3, 4, but I didn't want to run into a Death. So instead, I've decided to play second needle, which I guess they thought it was going to name Wasteland, but I decided to name Troll of Khazad-dûm. And they are actually gonna try to do it after the brainstorm. And I was like, no man, you can't. Here they try, and they can't. Sorry, my sense of humor is pretty stupid. But yeah, it was nice to see that Pithing was useful. One Ring resolve as well. Having a Veil reassured me a little bit. And again, they got the Null Rod. That's why they didn't counter the One Ring. Makes sense. Here we got a Reclaimer. They force it. We Veil. They force again. They pitch Brainstorm and Murktide, so the exchange was pretty okay, I would say. Shadow was scary though. I decided to play Tabby first and tax them a little bit. Now we are on the top deck. Hoops. We need our deck to deliver before this shadow gets too big for us to deal with. Decided to keep Boseiju just in case we need it. We wanted to get rid of Nullrod. It was a huge draw. They used this member to grow their own day shadow, which is enormous at this point. 9-9 is scary. Here we get rid of the Nullrod. We are free to activate. Getting a Titan was huge. We got a carpet, which is fantastic as well. Move into the second main to use the carpet. Here comes the Titan. No counter this time. Gonna get some life, which is huge. And if I recall properly, we are gonna Zenith for another one. Here they decide to force, which we bail. And at this point, I almost knew the game was ours. Up to 28, decided to play Chasm to get rid of the Tabernacle, which we didn't need anymore. And they decided to suicide. So they went off with style, at least. Very weird they decided to let the first Titan go when they have force. I guess they were thinking that they could bounce it later with Brazen B. Didn't really matter because we have the Veil and we have the Zenith for another one, but interesting choices. But yeah, 3-1. Moving into the last round. Which we played against Temur Delver again. Decided to keep a weird hand because Elvish give us the green mana, and I went for it right away because second Spirit Guide let us play around 8th, and that's what's happening here. If not, I would have waited one turn. Unfortunately, Reclaimer survived. That Wasteland is annoying though. So we are playing Chicken again. But triple Surveil, man. Oh my goodness. However, their top card was something they wanted, so they didn't get to be very aggressive with the Delirium. But man, triple trigger every time. So scary. Yeah, and you can see here, very huge attack. Fortunately, I have Ojuk on my hand, so I cannot go fetch it, as we did on the previous round against Temur. I tried to protect against the Wasteland, but they have a Force of Will. Now we Bojuka them and hope they don't get the opportunity to get big again fast. I decided to risk the One Ring because they only had one card in hand. That was very aggressive, but makes sense. we clean the board again. So wait a sec. So I use Bosuba to copy Bojuka just to avoid them going big or getting a Murtide on the future. And then I copied it, getting advantage of them not having a hand, to use Tabi to at least kill one of their creatures. One of the best moments of Tabernacle in the huge whole league. And they decided to get rid not of one but two of them, which I really liked. They decide to go aggro here, which makes sense because the ring is putting a lot of pressure. And we are just praying for them not finding another bolt. Here I'm gonna let the Endurance die. I really need all the mana available. And here we start to have difficult choices. First of all, we go get Yavimaya to make Tabernacle useful. So the idea here is to use Spirit Guide, get a Titan going, get some life back with 2 Glimmers. But again, if they find a bolt, we are dead. But they didn't, and they conceded. Very close. Then game 2. Decided to expose Reclaimer to a Death because we have Green Sun to try again on the following turn. But I got scared and I decided to wait one turn and get advantage from Veil of Summer. And here, not using this Wasteland is gonna cost them a lot, because we top deck the Pithing Needle, which is huge. We use it to name Wasteland. Now we go fetch. They try to force this. We Veil of Summer it. We get the Reclaimer. And they concede, I think, because they didn't have red mana. So they were probably stuck with Lightning Bolt, Channeler, and whatever. Yeah. And not getting rid of this Reclaimer was going to cost them the game. So we're keep on their side. I guess they were hoping on Death and Force to do the job and to find a country probably, but they didn't. We got lucky there, and we ended up with the 4-1 that I've shown you. So let's go back to the deck. Sorry for the replay video today and kinda spoiled the result, but I thought the 3 tempo matches were worth doing the effort and posting the leak anyway. The Cradle match was unfortunately not as it should have been. I think they really conceded very fast game 1, and there wasn't game 3 at all. And the matchup against Show and Tell, I still feel like I messed up somewhere. Maybe I'm too much of a coward, especially when playing Post, which is a defensive deck. I think this is one of the things I really like about Green Post, that it kinda synchronizes with my character in this sense of just playing defense until we turn the corner and we smash brutally. Uh, yeah, it goes with me very much. Um, I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah, that maybe I should have been far more aggressive and gone for the 2020 sooner. But then just using brainstorms, not shuffling at all, keeping 4 mana up all the time, no matter what. Either they were bluffing like a god, or they had the Otawara. Uh, and I thought they had it. We will never know. I played around it as much as I can, and we ended up losing in the end. I'm still not sure if there was some window for Glacier Chasm to save the day, but Omniscience made that, I think, impossible. Second Atraxa was going to refill their hand completely. Yeah, but still, I think it's an interesting game to watch, at least for the psychological aspect. I know some of you are going to point out that matchup, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not criticizing you folks. Yeah, let me know what you think. Could you have gone for it sooner? Do you think they had Utawara? I'm not sure, but I still think they did. Um, yeah, let me know how you would have approached those games or the league in general. I'm still pretty happy with a 4-1. Yeah, I don't know if I have opened the chest, but gonna do now. Self reward. Well, well, if we happen to want to play the hammer deck someday, we have a paladin. Fantastic. Okay. So, yeah. Overall, very happy with the deck. I hope you'll forgive me for the format today and the spoiler, and I hope you enjoy the games at least a little bit. Let me know what you think overall, and yeah, as always, I'll come back with more stuff. So see you soon, folks.